Dr. Tan Yia Swam.
Thank you, sir. First, I thank Minister Ong. Okay, maybe not so angry anymore after all your kind words. And if you are going to stay 10 years like Mr. Gan, then I will continue to advise and help for 10 years. So, sir, I am very heartened by the strong support for the motion. So first of all, I thank all my fellow NMPs in attendance who have each shared their insights into how healthcare can be supported in their various sectors. This is the kind of fresh ideas that we need to have a synergistic whole. Next, I thank all members for their various speeches covering a wide range of topics in relation to support for healthcare, namely recruit, reskill and retain healthcare workers, fair pay, reasonable working hours, financing and business needs, better IT systems, take a firm stand against bullying and harassment, emphasis on prevention and primary care, legal protection and support, looking after vulnerable groups, in particular children, the elderly, migrant workers, and the differently abled. However, I must address some of the points that Member Mr. Leong brought up yesterday. I appreciate his points about reviewing MediSave, but I urge him to have in-depth discussions with MOH to better understand the current funding and to help in future reviews if necessary. The MediSave and MediShield Life have been extensively and rigorously reviewed to ensure that majority of Singaporeans and PRs can afford medical care when they opt for subsidized wards in restructured hospitals. If any of you know residents in financial distress, please direct them to an experienced medical social worker who will be able to further advise on additional available subsidies. I also need to seek clarification from Mr. Leong on his comment that, quote, drug prices should not be marked up unreasonably for non-subsidized patients to cross-subsidized subsidized patients, end quote. Firstly, is there evidence of this happening? Secondly, what is the definition of unreasonable markup? If I can use another food analogy other than chicken rice, a can of soda can be 60 cents at the budget grocery mart, $1.30 at supermart, $1.60 at coffee shop, $3 in restaurant, and $5 in a hotel. How much is a reasonable markup for medications? Patients who are not subsidized will be patients who opt in for A or B1 class or foreigners. I, as a doctor, would think that allowing market forces to determine costings is fair? Or would Mr. Leong also want taxpayers to pay for everyone? I also thank the political office holders from different ministries for your assurance and commitments to support healthcare. I thank SPS Eric Chua in advocating for sports across different government agencies and active community engagement. Parkour aunties like myself rejoice. No more police chasing us off. MOS Gan has also given an overview of how teachings on exercise and healthy eating are integrated at all levels of education. I thank Dr. SMS Dr. Janil and Minister Ong for the detailed and candid replies in recognizing complex problems of manpower, IT, and financing. The professional bodies will continue to work closely with MOH in resolving issues within healthcare, especially those that pertain to training and working hours. Honestly, only clinicians truly understand the delicate balance needed. I am glad that we are all aligned in this, that healthcare has to be a whole of government effort. In my closing, I come full circle back to why. Why do we stand up to advocate for a cause, to leave behind a better world than the one we were born in? Recent news regarding the next round of NMP applications has again raised some criticism. I believe the NMP rule has given an ordinary citizen like myself the chance to voice opinions at a national platform. Ordinary, because I am a struggling working mother in the sandwich generation. Ordinary, because I also fear and worry about my children's future. What kind of Singapore will my children grow up in? Fellow MPs will appreciate how hard it is to prepare for a speech. It's not just simply coming out to the mic and say some fancy words. There's background research, sticking to timing before getting scolded by speaker or deputies, and speaking the truth in a palatable way and driving home a point. I commented before, we are all talking a lot, but who are listening? Is the public listening? The live streaming only has about 400 plus viewers usually. A few people would deliberately make funny clips of our mistakes or slip-ups. And yeah, once I get over the embarrassment of my own, I have to say it's actually very funny. So thanks for making us laugh. But the people I am really speaking to are fellow citizens who share my interest in the larger good of Singapore. The citizens listening in and considering policy. Maybe some of you are civil servants. Singapore has 150,000 public officers who report to the government, not to any one political party. I rephrase for emphasis. Civil servants are individuals who will have their own different political beliefs and alignments. They serve the people of Singapore. Blindly supporting or opposing any political party or mocking MMPs for being mouthpieces or puppets or blaming the government for everything, I ask you, is it logical? Does it serve anyone? Before reacting and speaking, consider 3 points. 1, is it true? 2, is it necessary? 3, is it kind? If the answer is no to any of the above, maybe it's better not to say. I'm sure that many of you have friends who are in healthcare. Do speak to them and understand the problems we face. Create your own small little informal think tanks and brainstorm on how to solve larger healthcare issues. For all the people listening in, whether you're working in ministries, whether you're ordinary citizen like myself, I hope that you will also think of ways to ensure that healthcare gets the support it needs and prioritize your own healthcare needs. We now live in a rapidly changing and volatile world. Look at how COVID brought the world to a standstill for 3 lost years. Look at the Ukraine war, the US bank collapses. Overnight, the world changes. Nothing is new, history repeats itself, and maybe in a much faster cycle than before. The modern person has to be able to adapt to a world where answers may be less obvious, where there's no rulebook or 10-year series to refer to. There may be no single right answer, and choices will have trade-offs. Should war ever come to Singapore, should there be an apocalypse, we will need warriors, we will need leaders, but I tell you, we will need people who know how to look after others, people who know how to stop bleeding, prevent infections, deliver babies, how to grow food, how to get clean water, any kind of knowledge to ensure that we survive. But are we building up useful knowledge or frittering our time away on social media in mindless entertainment? I see patients, and the medical treatment algorithms are actually quite simple. There is a breast lump, it needs to be checked. But frequently, emotional stress gets in the way. This manifests as hesitation, fear, worry, and even anger at me. Oh, why is there a lump? I understand, but it's not easy to process the onslaught of negative emotions. Healthcare workers, teachers, drivers, all frontline service workers, in fact, have received the brunt of a lot of negative outpouring of emotions. This is our society now, a pressure cooker. People being unhappy in daily lives without really even realizing it, feeling irritable, snappish, overly critical, worried about everything, and feeling unable to cope. I repeat a point from my previous speech. Recognize mental health issues in yourself or your loved ones. If you suffer from anxiety or anger management, don't take it out on your healthcare worker, don't take it out on others. Get help from a mental health professional. Even though I'm a breast surgeon, I cannot just operate on the cancer. I have to consider the patient in her whole entirety, her overall health. Does she have any other medical conditions that impact her surgery and recovery? Her preferred language. Does she fully understand what I'm saying? Is she making a true informed decision? How is her personality like? Her social network? Is she going to be well supported at home and at the workplace? Or will she forgo care because she perceives that others' needs come before her? The surgery itself is simple in expert hands. It's helping the patient to overcome all these other emotional and mental barriers to seek help and to eventually be on the road to recovery. So that is the challenge for which I call for global change and the whole of government support. I thank everyone who has taken part in the debate, and I emphasize, first, walk the ground, get real feedback and acknowledge problems in healthcare. 2, continue education at all levels of engagement. 3, cross-collaborate across ministries, across industries, across the public-private divide. Humans have short memories. Let's learn from the mistakes of the past so that we don't repeat it. People care only when things affect them. Help me and make everyone care. Finally, breaking formal protocol, I want to thank Shahira, Samad, Limping, Mark, Janet, Joshua, Hientek, and Sing Yao. Thank you all for your friendship. It has been an eventful and fun NMP journey. To all MPs from both sides of the House, I'm glad for the chance to get to know you all as people and real humans, not just as public figures on your posters. This is my last speech in this chamber. The next time we meet again, maybe when I complain to you and meet the people sessions. I thank you all, both sides of the House, for your service to Singapore. And if I may, I will pray for wisdom and kindness for you as you all continue to debate meaningfully on issues to guide Singapore safely through future challenges. So thank you all very much.
Mr. Leong, I'm about to put the question to the House. You have a clarification arising from a speech that has been given? Do you have a clarification for her? Yes, you're wanting to respond to her questions, right?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I thank Dr. Tan for asking the questions on the drugs subsidies. According to my understanding and a lot of the feedback from residents, they pay different prices when they're in different classes. Of course, those are expected. Currently, different classes have different charges. But from a certain angle, which I've mentioned in my speech, that it is okay to charge the services, but why there's such a big difference in the drugs prices being charged for different classes? So this is what I've said, and I don't know why Dr. Tan raised it as an issue, okay? Maybe I can also clarify with Dr. Tan whether she agrees with our proposal that the government should actually start a central procurement process for all drugs in Singapore. I would like to ask for her opinion on this. Thank you.
Dr. Tan, do you wish to respond?
Yes, I would like to respond because I am a doctor and I think I know a bit about healthcare. So I think firstly, regarding bills to the honourable member, it would be useful to ask your affected residents to approach the hospital business office that they were in to seek clarification on the bill breakdown. There are very clear explanations and breakdowns on the tiers of subsidies available, and different drugs, whether it's branded or generic, have very, very clear costings. So I would like to know more details of the case rather than making a blanket statement that the costings are unfair. In relation to the second question for government to procure all medicines, I understand that right now there is a procurement for all medications, for chronic medications, for public medical institutions. In the private sector though, may I respectfully state that all doctors in private sector have our own different business models and different ways of generating income. So not all doctors may want to be part of the government effort. So that I thank the member for his suggestion. We can take it back to the professional bodies and further get our members' feedback. Thank you, sir.
Minister Ong Ye Kung, you have a clarification?
I just thought it's not very fair. The NMP have to answer a policy question. So it's better for MOH to say something. Ours is a variegated healthcare system, unlike, say, NHS, where everything is nationalized. All drug prices are more or less the same, centrally procured. We have deliberately catered to a variegated market. And for private sector doctors, as Dr. Tan Yia Swam said, they do have different models. There are doctors that charge very low consultation fees, but instead they earn some margins by selling their drugs. Others do the reverse. Yeah? So when we put forward an idea, well, luckily it's from you and not from me. If we put forward an idea to say, no, let's all sell prices at the same price, actually doctors, their rice bowl get affected. And it can be quite a major issue for them. So I think there is some wisdom in what Dr. Tan Yia Swam say. In a private space, sometimes you want to let market forces operate, but at the same time, have some discipline through how we structure insurance, what we subsidize, what we don't. And I think that's how we rein in healthcare, unnecessary healthcare cost. But Mr. Speaker, I know Dr. Leong has more questions, but really, sorry, Dr. Leong, sorry. Mr. Leong had more questions, but really, I think this is a motion about ministries and all of us, all stakeholders coming together, a very meaningful motion, and I would urge that we don't prolong further this doing and froing, and let us give our stepping down NMPs a strong support for your very meaningful motion. Thank you.
The question is that this House commits to supporting healthcare beyond the COVID-19 pandemic and the whole of government efforts for consistent and sustainable support. As many as are of the opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Leader of the House.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that Parliament do now adjourn to a date to be fixed.
The question is that Parliament do now adjourn to a date to be fixed. As many as are of that opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order.